Welcome to 20 Meter Restart Agree to Disagree Rugby League podcast. I'm your host Ra, and on today's show, we talk about Roger Tuivasa-Sheck signing with the Warriors and what it means to New Zealand Rugby League, Michael Morgan re-signing with the North Queensland Cowboys, Mitchell Pearce co-captain for the Knights, Milford and Boyd still haunted by the 2015 Grand Final defeat, JT's 300th game, our top 8 picks, and tips for the first round. Hoonz, Nick, let's get it on. Like I said, welcome to 20 Meter Restart Agree to Disagree Rugby League podcast. Like I said, I'm your host Ra, and I'm joined by Hoonz and Nick. Welcome, boys.
Good morning.
Morning.
Alright, it's exciting to be here, so we'll get straight into it. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck signing with the Warriors. Is that a big coup for Rugby League, considering I knew New Zealand Rugby Union was trying to steal him off the Rugby League? What do you reckon, boys? Hoonz, I'll start with you.
I think it's a great thing for Rugby League and the Warriors in general. Knowing that Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is one of the elite players of New Zealand Rugby League, and Rugby Union is so strong over there in New Zealand. We all know that anything that is maintained with players and players staying in Rugby League is a great thing for Rugby League in general.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a big victory for Rugby League, especially from what you sort of see there. It's a bit of a dying sport, Rugby League, compared to Union, because it's just so strong over in New Zealand. So I think winning that little battle is pretty important for the game, especially in New Zealand.
Yeah, great to see Roger signing again, and thank you very much RTS for sticking with league. Now, straight on to Michael Morgan. Michael Morgan re-signing with the North Queensland Cowboys. That's a huge bonus for the Cowboys to maintain Morgan. Here's a question for you, Nick. Is Morgan going to be the next king of the North?
I haven't really seen him in any leadership sort of positions. I mean, last year he definitely took a step up and led the Cowboys when JT was out, but hard to say if he's going to be a king of the North or not. Definitely a massive signing for the Cowboys. He's just such a talented player. Saw it in Origin last year. He was playing out of position, and he still just dominated wherever he was on the field. So, massive signing for the Cowboys. Definitely going to be a great player. Hard to see him as a leader just yet, though.
And Nick, and there's why I disagree with you. Look, here's the thing. Michael Morgan has been in the leadership group for a while now, especially for the North Queensland Cowboys. Nick is just a Bronco hater, so he doesn't know anything about the North Queensland Cowboys. Michael Morgan is, I don't think he'll be king of the North, considering that JT's already sealed that position up. But I think that he can get close to a prince. But you also have Jason Taumalolo there as well, who is the Hulk of the North. He's unbelievable. Michael Morgan is a huge signing for the Cowboys. I think it's for 5 years. Well done to the Cowboys staff and management for keeping Michael Morgan there. It was awesome.
Michael Morgan with the Cowboys is going to be an excellent thing for them, especially for the future. And alongside Taumalolo, still a dominant force. Mitchell Pearce said to NRL.com that, with a cheeky grin actually, that he's actually quite happy to be out of there because, the favourite tags is definitely on the Roosters. Mitchell Pearce as co-captain, is that a good thing for the Newcastle Knights? Start with you, Hoonz.
For the Newcastle Knights, Mitchell Pearce as co-captain, I think it would be a good thing, a good damn thing for the Knights and Mitchell Pearce in general. He's always been a leader at the Roosters before his move to Newcastle. He's won a premiership. He's been in representative arena. I think the Knights are going to be the biggest surprise package of the season. And by golly, I think that is going to be terrific for Mitchell Pearce's development.
Oh, yeah, I have to agree there. I think he does have a lot of experience, obviously premiership under his belt, years for New South Wales under his belt, successful or unsuccessful, it's still experience and it still brings a lot, especially to a weak weak Newcastle side. So,
Excellent. Mitchell Pearce, can he get Newcastle Knights back in the final series? We'll just have to wait and see this year. Here's a big one for you, Nick. Milford and Boyd said to NRL.com, they're still haunted by 2015 grand final defeat. Is that a good thing for the Broncos? Or is that a bad thing?
Look, I think it'll definitely play a part in Milford's mind. He wasn't as good in his last couple of seasons as he was in 2015. So that could always be an explanation for it. Boyd, to me, though, is always a rock. He's always just such a solid player no matter where he is on the field. So I think as much as he can say it haunts him, I think he's still going to be a solid player. I think, it's hard to see it really affecting him here. But Milford, definitely, I think it's still plays in the back of his mind every night before he goes to bed.
Nick, Ra, I think it will keep haunting the Broncos, especially Boyd and Milford, till the day they die. Because the way that they lost was ridiculous. The North Queensland Cowboys, and almost 5 seconds left in the game, 3, 2, 1, Fout scores in the corner, game over. Ben Hunt knocks it on. I don't think that it's going to motivate too much or be a motivation for Milford and Boyd. We know that they lost, but look at their team this year. It's not like they're going to make the grand final again. Is it? Isn't it, Nick? So they're not going to be there in the grand final. We know that the Cowboys will be there. Look at their side. It looks great. But Boyd and Milford, suck it up, princesses, because it's definitely going to be another Cowboys year.
Well, Hoonz said another Cowboys year. We just have to wait and find out. Well, speaking of the Cowboys, Jonathan Thurston, the King of the North, 300th game on Friday at home. It's going to be excellent. Not only that, he's playing his 271st game for the Cowboys as well, taking over his great mate and Mango, Matty Bowen. It's a big occasion. We know how devastating the duo was. Here's my question to you, Hoonz. Is Jonathan Thurston, JT, the greatest player you ever seen?
Wow, Ra, that's a great question to ask me because I'm a huge North Queensland Cowboys fan. So that's my favourite team. And not only that, Jonathan Thurston is not only the greatest player I've seen, is the greatest player of all time. All time. It's absolutely ridiculous of where he came from in his career, from the Bulldogs, boo, then came to the Cowboys to play with Matty Bowen in 2005, and look at what he did. Wins the Dally M medal, boom. Makes the grand final. Yes, we know that they lost. Still wins the premiership with the Cowboys, leading into victory in 2015, as we just spoke about in the last segment, or last topic, which was Boyd and Milford still haunted by 2015, blah, blah, blah. And JT, clutch as always, field goal. And then obviously his origin record speaks for itself. It's ridiculous. That's Iron Man qualities. Just 30, I don't know, I'm estimating here, guessing 32 origin games in a row, something along those lines. That's unbelievable in the origin arena as well. He will always be the greatest. He had a great relationship with Matty Bowen when they were there, the 1-2 punch. One of the greatest combos I've ever seen. JT, yes, Ra, the greatest player I've ever seen.
Whoa, I just got to hold you there. Just booing the Bulldogs after the Bulldogs let the Cowboys make the 8 after beating the Dragons last year. And you're booing them? It's pretty disappointing, man. Nick, what about you? Is JT the greatest player you ever seen?
He's certainly up there. Certainly up there. I think he makes the biggest difference to any team I've seen. I think even in Origin 2 last year, I think that I'm going to use that as evidence here because he didn't play a special game. He didn't play out of his skin. He didn't do anything out of the ordinary. Just his presence there lifted Queensland enough, in my opinion anyway. I think just him being there led him to that victory. So, yeah, I think he has the biggest influence on any team he's in, and I'd put him up there as one of the greatest of all time.
Excellent. JT, the greatest. What do you think? Anyway, we're going to go through our top 8 picks, but I'm going to change it up, spice it up a bit. Everybody talks about the top 4. Who's going to be in the top 4? Well, we're going to talk about who will be in the bottom 4 of the top 8. Nick, I'll start with you. Who's going to be in that bottom 4 and sneak in to the top 8?
Bottom 4 of the 8 this year, so 5th through to 8th, yeah?
Correct.
I'd have to put Sharks there. As much as I don't like them, I think they're a strong side last year. They've lost Maloney, hence why I wouldn't really put them up in the top 4, but I'd still put them in that mid-table sort of range. I'd put the Panthers there. I think Panthers are a good shout. I think they've got a few interesting signings, especially Maloney. I think he'll be a massive help to them. I want to put the Titans up there. I do like what they've done there. Signed the Panthers under 20s coach, who's been so successful over the years. Brought in Bryce Cartwright. They've gotten rid of Jared Hayne, and just some really smart moves I've seen there. So I'd love to see them there. Number 8. I'd have to put Broncos. I can't back myself enough to put them in the top 8. I think they're going to be really dependent on Nicarima and Milford. And as you've seen, they're very not inconsistent. I don't want to say that, but I think if Nicarima and Milford crumble, I think the whole Broncos side will crumble, and they will end up bottom of the table. But if they succeed, then they'll be one of the stronger forces in the tournament. So I'll put Broncos there. Broncos, Panthers, Sharks, and Titans.
Well, interesting choice. I agree with you. I think your beloved Broncos will make the 8. I think in the lower half of the 8, I would probably put them at 6th. My 5th choice would be, like I said, the dark horses, Newcastle Knights. I think that they would be in 5th place. Then you have, let me think about it. I think the Panthers will be there. Panthers. And I think Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs will be there. Actually, I'll change. I'll say 5th place, Bulldogs. With the strong team that they have, I would take... I'll take Broncos as 6th, Newcastle Knights as 7th, and then 8th, I can't even remember my team. Panthers. Yeah, 8 Panthers. Thank you, Nick. Thank you. Panthers to round out the 8. I think with Maloney there, they are stronger than what the Sharks can provide, especially Maloney being their 5'8", that next option, solid goal kicker. Yeah, that's my bottom half of the 8. Ra?
Do you agree with Nick and Hoonz? Put a comment below and let's see. Anyway, now moving on for our tips for the first round. Who will win? We'll just go game by game, but we'll just see which person tips who. And I'll join this one, obviously. I'll start with you, Hoonz. Broncos versus Dragons. Who's going to win that one?
Whoa, Nick, Ra, and listeners, I'm going to go with the Dragons. I think the Dragons at home will beat the Broncos. With Ben Hunt, rivalry match against his old club. They have James Graham leading up front, Paul Vaughan, Gareth Woodop. They are prepared. And there might be, I'm not too sure if Boyd is playing. It'd be interesting to see. If Boyd plays, I still give it to the Dragons, but Dragons is my pick.
Ooh, you heard it here, Hoonz. Pick the Dragons. That's going to hurt, Nick. Nick, I'll go straight on to you. Cowboys versus Sharks. Who's going to win that one?
You'd be an idiot to tip the Sharks, wouldn't you? I mean, you've just got, opening match, Friday night, North Queensland. You're going to have a really hostile crowd. Yeah, like it is every week, except it's opening and it's against one of the most hated teams in the comp. There's no way you'd back the Sharks there. Cowboys for a big victory there.
Good choice, Nick. Good choice.
Earlier game, Knights versus Eagles. And I'm not going to pick the Knights. I think the Knights could actually do it, especially with the new recruitments. So it should be a good game. Knights, Seagulls. I'm going for the Knights. Hoonz. Tigers versus Roosters. Who will win this one?
My heart wants to say Tigers, especially if Benji plays Fairy Tale. But realistically, the Roosters should pummel the Tigers. I think it's Roosters to lose. Yeah, Roosters to lose. Yeah, Roosters will win this one.
Nick, Rabbitohs Warriors. Who's going to take this one?
I'd have to back the Rabbitohs in. I think they started to pick up form at the end of last season. They started playing much better as a team. I think GI makes his return.
Oh, he does.
Massive factor. And I don't think the Warriors have made enough strong signings to be a threat this year. So, Rabbitohs.
Rabbitohs fan, are you happy with Nick's choice? Bulldog Storm. I'm actually going to go for an upset here. Without Billy Slater at the back.
What? You crazy, right? You crazy? This is the Melbourne Storm.
I'll back the doggies in this one. No Slater, no win for the Storm.
Right, controversial.
Yeah, God, they played without Slater nearly for a whole season and they still did insanely well.
Hey guys, it's my pick. An upset's going to happen out in Perth. Panthers Eels. Who's going to win this one? Nick?
I'd have to say Eels. I don't want to say Eels. That hurts me. I hate Jared with a passion, but they were a strong team last year, and I think Jared Hayne hasn't been there long enough to be toxic. So I think they'll be a strong side for their first few games at least. So have to back the Eels in.
And Hunya, last but not least, Titans versus Raiders. Who will win?
This is another one. I'm getting all the ones that my heart says Titans, but the Raiders should win this one. They've got a strong lineup. I think they have lost Josh Hodgson though until mid-season. That's a huge loss. Where they playing, bro?
I'm not too sure actually. Sorry, Hoonz. Didn't really check that one up. Should have, but I didn't.
Okay, so depending if it's Titans home ground, I give it Titans. Raiders home ground, Raiders. Is that good enough, guys? Good enough?
Good enough, but can I just say here, Hoonz, you've backed the Broncos in the top 8, yet you've tipped the Dragons in the opening round. So can I just get you to talk through your logic on that?
My logic with the Dragons and Broncos, Nick? Are you unsatisfied? Are you not happy?
Very, very unhappy, and just giving you one last chance to change your tip before you're wrong.
Okay. You know what I'm going to do, Nick, is I'm not going to change my tip. It's going to still be the Dragons. Dragons are going to not only win, but destroy the Broncos. How about that one?
Oh, look, I strongly disagree. I think they lost Russell Packer. Big meters he made for them last year.
James Graham comes in for Russell. That's a huge signing.
And was James really successful at the Bulldogs? I wouldn't say yes. So I don't think he's a big enough signing to overtake the Broncos there. I'm going to back the Broncos in 100%, and I think
Of course you're going to back the Broncos, but I'm going to back the Dragons. Like my tip, whether you like it or not. Agree to disagree, isn't it, Nick?
And that is absolutely correct. Agree to disagree. Well, time is up. Thank you very much for listening in, and come and join the 20-meter restart crew once again. I'm Ra with Hoonz and Nick signing off. Later.